Oh boy, you guys are in for a great episode. We just wrapped it up. We went to almost midnight. It was insane. Joseph Collins and MattHand came in and we talked about any and freaking everything. This one is a banger, y'all. Check it out all the way to the end because we take a dive down the rabbit hole. This episode is brought to you by Sport Around Trophies and Awards, located in Rhino, Virginia. Brad has hooked Commotion Podcast up and its guests with some custom tumblers. Man, we really appreciate it, Brad. If you guys need anything regarding trophies, awards, tumblers, just customized engraving, give him a call at 540-613-1892, or you can look him up on the social media platforms at Sport Around Trophies and Awards. Take your hats off and get ready for this banger.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Yes, sir.
That's how you start a show.
That's the way we get it kicking.
America.
So here, let me put my hat on. Joseph Collins and MattHand. I am intrigued as to how Joseph and I have never met. That is the biggest
That's
conundrum in my
mind
brain.
blowing.
Yeah, because I've known Matt. I mean, I guess how long have we known each
I don't
other?
know. We met in the rec center, remember?
That's right.
You were benching, I think,
20 pounds.
45 pounds. You saw me
2 plates,
with
bro.
3 plates on each side.
Yeah, I guess that's the first
No,
time we met.
you were, I guess, really best friends, good friends with Richard,
Yep.
my brother-in-law.
Yep.
So
Yeah, man. And we
but
just
I
kinda known each
followed you
other.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Love the vids. Love the
Phil fanatic.
Phil didn't come out till recently.
Yeah, that's been a while. Yeah,
That's a whole nother level.
it
with
is.
Phil.
You know, I really feel bad for him because if anybody doesn't know Phil and you're not on my Facebook page, you're just not living, you know? If you don't know Phil, I feel like you're not living your best life. But he's gone now. We've lost him to the brown liquor.
I refreshed my feed daily looking for a fresh Phil.
I know Phil better
Video.
than I know you.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah,
you know,
right?
most people.
Yeah.
You know, Phil. So Phil had a problem with groundhogs. He called them
Whistle pigs and the squashes.
Yep, and they kept eating the tarps off his squashes, right? So whenever the squash would come up, it would have the flour, right? And those damn whistle pigs would eat the flour, so you never got any squash. And Phil, it ate him alive.
That destroyed his harvest.
It did. You know, he didn't have anything for the winter. All he had was some old brown liquor, and he moved to Dougspur.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen him in a
Yeah.
while.
I thought
man.
it was, like I said, I thought it was Ariat, but Dougspur? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
big city then, huh?
He the only thing he took with him was a riding lawnmower. And apparently that's how he gets back and forth to the store. And he's got a cart behind it. I don't know if he stole it or not, but he's a good guy.
We'll put him on the prayer list.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Get him on the podcast.
He won't, dude. He just won't. I've offered him to stay in the house to do whatever. I don't think he has running water. Last time we hung out, he smelled like fish, man. Dang. It was terrible.
Maybe he's dead.
Inside he is, for sure.
Yeah.
His soul left a long time ago.
Emotionally, he's checked out.
But anyway, so what's the most patriotic place you've ever done the pledge?
Most patriotic place, probably Arlington.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Oh man.
And got to do the pledge there. There's definitely pulls at the heartstrings pretty good.
I'm sure, man. When was that?
That was 2012.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah. So I appreciate your service, my man. When were you in?
So I joined the Marine Corps in 1999, did 4 years, and wanted to jump out of planes. And so I went, did a transfer to the Army. I back up a little bit. I did a tour in Kosovo with the Marine Corps. And then when I couldn't get a jump slot with the Marine Corps, I transferred to the Army.
Okay.
Went over to the Army and went to jump school, enjoyed it. A little bit overrated, but it was all right. And then I ended up getting deployed to Iraq with the Army, the 101st.
Gotcha, on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, man. How was that?
So that was the end of 2004. I was there for where total rotation was 18 months for the first tour.
Okay.
Hit by 11 IEDs, and we were pretty active. We were right there in Saddam's hometown of Tikrit, so all of our patrol area was a Sunni Triangle.
Yeah.
We did, within that time frame, we did a little over 300 combat patrols.
Oh man.
Throughout the Sunni Triangle. So it was a fun time. It was early. Not super early in the war, but it was early enough to where the rules of engagement were constantly changing. So we had some fun.
Did you feel like your hands were tied ever?
2007, 2008 tour, definitely.
Yeah.
There was the rules of engagement were just about impossible to follow.
Sure.
If you chose to follow them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, 2004, 2005 was a party.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep, I'm sure, man. Did you lose anybody? Any friends?
Some sister companies lost some people. We were very active. We were basically on the main supply routes from Baghdad to Samara, all the way to Tikrit, all the way up to Kirkuk, and we did route clearance.
Okay.
And all we did was just poke along looking for roadside bombs, and most of the time they found us before we found them. So
Sure.
we were fortunate enough. We had quite a few wounded within our company, but we didn't lose anybody in our company.
Thank God, man.
Yep.
Had that on your side. So Matt, what I know about Matt, right? Wrestling, right? That's the legacy, man.
That's about it.
You building some monsters over at Machine Shed.
Well, it didn't start there. I've been coaching these kids I've been coaching Joe's kids for what, 4 or 5 years.
Close to six. Yeah.
So, I coached at another club here in town and for 4 years, and now I got Brady.
Yeah.
He's a freshman, and I thought it may be time just to kind of, selfishly focus on him. And so, I stepped away, and, a couple months went by, and, I got Joe texting and a handful of other parents texting, and a lot of these kids, like especially Joe's kids, Barrett and Dillinger, I love them like I love my own kids.
Yeah, man.
And
you see them grow up, especially if you're doing the thing.
I've coached
together.
Dillinger in football, Dillinger in wrestling, and Barrett, Barrett's a man in a 9-10-year-old body. He's Joe in a 9-10-year-old body.
Spitting image, dude. It's so killer.
I mean, yeah, you want no part of that smoke.
You don't want that heat, boy.
No. So yeah, I mean, the wheels start turning again, and I've always wanted kind of my own plate. Like me and Joe had a conversation the other day. I'm like, I got 1, 2, 3 maybe passions in life. A couple things I'm decent at. Coaching wrestling is one of them. I think I'm decent at it. Nothing special, but I think I'm okay. And I love the sport. I love everything that's involved. I love the kids. I love the family, families.
I've been debating about, Jackson. My little man is 5.
Yeah, man, get him in.
And I did martial arts, growing up, and it was probably the only thing that kept me semi-sane.
Yeah.
Because I was an only kid, grew up in Reiner. The structure is what I needed.
Yeah.
I had hardworking parents and stuff like that. I was I was privileged.
Especially in today's time with all the garbage that's out there.
Oh, yeah.
The options, I guess, that are out there or lack thereof.
Yeah.
They need structure. They need to learn hard work.
Yep.
They need to learn how to set goals, how to work towards goals, achieve those goals, figure out why you didn't achieve those goals, and just keep working.
Yeah, man.
And I'll correct Matt on something. He's not an average wrestling coach. He is way more than that.
He's humble.
And he's humble. He's an excellent role model for the kids.
Awesome.
Like, you can go to lots of different clubs and not get the right adult guidance and leadership that you should expect around kids.
Yeah.
But you can guarantee that Matt provides that. And that's, to me, as a parent that have 2 little hammers that love to wrestle, to me, that's more important than his amazing ability to coach.
Yeah.
Like, his ability to lead them as a role model is more important to me than anything.
Yeah, and a lot of kids, obviously you're a good role model to your kids, and but outside of that, the people that the kids are spending time with can have just as much, if not more, influence than we do. And that's why I am so selective in what my kids watch, where they go, the food they put in their mouths, you know, the school system that they're in.
Right.
I was getting ready to say that, the turd school system.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
man.
Like you have to guard your kids so hard from,
it's ridiculous.
you know, the impressions at school and the agendas at school and everything else. And
Yep.
I don't have time for it.
No. So I felt like my daughter, and this is something I have a lot of self-resentment about. I put my daughter through her first year of school with a damn mask on. And I never once, except for being in a court, would I do that.
Right.
And I allowed my daughter to do that, and it's something that I have to live with, and I am sick about it, you know? And when they started doing that, and then we started the public system for second grade, and at that point, it was, my eyes were, I've always been aware, you know? But I didn't realize just how deep it went.
Yeah.
And then that first week of school, I could see the things that were happening and for lack of better terms, the shit that she was ingesting.
Yeah.
I was like, nope, not
Yeah,
happening.
I was willing to comply with the mask to a certain level, but as soon as they started pushing the jab,
Oh, yeah.
the experimental, you know, drug is what it is. And then we're seeing what's going on now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there was no out. I mean, as soon as they would have made that mandatory, you know, we're going either homeschool, we're going private.
Yeah.
I mean that ain't happening.
I'll live in the woods before that.
Right, and if you know, wrestling's a big deal, especially to Brady. And if you had to miss out on public school wrestling, big deal.
Yeah.
You know, club wrestling, the biggest tournaments these days. Not to get off that topic, but the biggest tournaments in today's time is not during the VHSL, the high school. It's summer, it's spring. So we would have been fine there. So, but yeah, as soon as they started pushing that, we would have bounced out of there.
It's unreal.
We took a pretty hard look at the mask, and you know, I'm pretty a non-compromising person, and we pulled our kids right away.
Yeah.
When they
I
said
wish
they
I
were going to have
would've done
to,
that, man.
you know, and I don't judge people for having their children wear a mask. I don't judge people for wearing masks.
Yeah.
I just know that there's not going to be somebody that tells my kid they got to wear a mask all day.
Yep.
So we homeschooled for the last 2.5 years, and then finally when they dropped, you know, the mask mandate, we put our kids back in school. And, you know, a 2.5 year lapse out of public school, going back into public school was a big adjustment for my boys.
Yeah.
And they kind of have the same tolerance as I do.
Which is
calm, cool.
calm. Like
Calm
I said on
down.
your thing, I don't know you yet, man.
Yeah, man, that's right. No, I do my best to provide a balance for my boys, like what's right and wrong, and you know what the Lord expects of us, all those different things. And you know, my boys know that my tolerance is pretty short,
Yeah.
and my beliefs are what I believe in. They know the song, Aaron Tippin's song. You got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. You know.
Yes, sir.
And so, my boys are pretty hard on that, and they were like, "No, Dad, we're not doing it." And we had a great time homeschooling.
Good.
And
I
wish
tried it. We tried it for a day.
it's tough.
Let me just tell you, no shit, a day, right? So we logged into the portal, you know, went down the rabbit hole, and we're doing all that. And I was sitting there, and I was sitting there, and I was sitting there. Dude, I can't do it. I was like, we're just going to have a lapse here. I can't do it.
I have
tried it.
zero patience.
We got a curriculum, so instead of doing the online stuff with the school, we ended up getting a Christian curriculum.
Okay.
And the boys were able to work at their own pace, and you know, obviously my wife was amazing during all that. My education, I cheated my way through school. So
You and me both.
yeah,
man.
I mean, I went
I
to
don't know how I
Gateway
made
Christian
it.
Academy, and Buddy did all my tests for me. So
Well, there you
I
go.
did great in college.
Isn't it funny when you care about something? Like, it's like, I'm not bad at learning. I just don't want to learn that.
Exactly.
You know, I don't care
Yeah,
about that.
Yeah.
I still don't use algebra at all during
No.
the day.
You know, the only time I do any, you know, I'm in real estate, I figure out percentages. That's as deep as it goes. I might have to do like acreage or something like that, but I mean, we're not talking about algebra. You know, I wish they would have kept, where's home ec? Where's like all this like actual skill stuff that we could have used, you know, like I think I was one of the last ones at Auburn to do the home ec and to learn sewing as a man. I've used it. You know what I mean?
Same. Yeah. So I just don't think society wants that anymore. I don't think society wants hard-working young men anymore. No. I think they want the skinny jeans and the the man buns to take over.
Here's what, and you hit on something. You said that the society doesn't want the man anymore. I don't think they want an identification other than human. Yeah. I think that's what society is trying to just create this field to where we're all kind of these sheep, these impressionable little creatures that are no longer identifiable. And we're all so mixed together and so confused and so washed. And when they turn those frequencies on, we just do whatever.
It's amazing
you know what I mean?
How crazy the society has gone in like 5 years.
Oh, it's gone to the
maybe less
complete shitter, man.
It's all agenda.
Oh, 100%.
It's 1,000,000% agenda driven, but it's, I mean, revelations, they say right will be wrong, wrong will be right. I mean, it's unfolding.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, right in front
I
of us.
never thought I'd see, men pretending to be women. I mean, you can identify with whatever you want, and we're supposed to just, accept that.
Putting litter boxes for the people that identify as cats in school.
Yeah.
So I told Dillinger this when he went back to middle school this year. I'm like, hey, buddy, if you come across a litter box in the bathroom, I want you to take a massive crap in it.
I was going to say, take a dump in it.
And then I want you to go back in the classroom and pee on the floor, because that's what cats do.
Cats do.
So go pee on the carpet. Just be tell the teacher, hey,
scratch your ass up against the table. Do what you got to do, little man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's pure insanity.
It is, man. And I turned off news, because I would just get so consumed with it. I would get mad, and
angry.
Like angry. And I turned it off during Trump. I was a Trump supporter. I thought that there's a lot of things we don't know about going on behind the scenes that I think people have been demonized as bad that are actually going to play out to be good in the end. And I'm sure you know about a lot of that, but probably you too, just as far as having a brain and being able to figure out, they're painting a picture here, man. This is not reality. None of this shit's reality. Everybody's just pawns, and they're put in place, and they're just moving chess pieces. That's all they're doing.
And the media is the main facilitator of it all.
Yeah, and that's why I chose to make up my mind. I'm making up my mind. I'm living my life. I'm not listening to all these people that are in the pockets of these companies that rebuild after war and these companies that force these pharmaceuticals and, this packaged food that is driving the ultimate pandemic, which is heart disease and obesity and, all this stuff. It's just a vicious cycle, man. I feed you shit so that you can rely on the pharmaceutical company, which then in turn, it will never cure cancer, bro. It makes too much money.
Yeah.
It's just this big, vicious.
We can put people on the moon. We can't cure cancer.
Yeah. But we can cure a virus that, right? In what, 90 days is what they figured once they got the COVID vaccine in place. It's like, oh, we figured it out now. It's like, great. But you couldn't figure out SARS-1, right? Mm-hmm. So I believe that. So, but I'm glad, man, So your kids are back in school.
They're back in school, doing great, man. Went back like they didn't miss a beat, man. Salute the flag every morning, go in school and shake the police officer's hand. And
who's the SRO over there? Did they get defunded?
So at Blacksburg, Blacksburg Middle School, I think it's Cobia.
Okay.
Micah Cobia, phenomenal guy.
Yeah. I feel like I sat on an ECO for him. I think I took over for him.
He's a great guy. And the boys love him. He was at Harding Elementary for a while.
Okay. Has he always been SRO? Or
no, not always. I'm not sure how long he's been an RSO, but it's been quite a few years, I think, now. But and I may be speaking out of context, but I think 4 or 5 years he's been an RSO. But he's phenomenal, man. He brings his dog in and has it in the school with him. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's another. For the life of me, I can't figure out why any parent wouldn't want their schools. Like for me, I want any schools, I want them armed to the teeth.
Yep.
And I can't figure out why anybody would, reject that.
Well, you live in Blacksburg, or if you're in Blacksburg, it's the dynamic
if that's where my tax money's going, I'm fine with my taxes going.
Oh, 100%.
They're already astronomical, but whatever. If it's going towards that, absolutely, that's money well spent right there.
I mean, I just want officers in schools, rifles slung, and let the kids get used to it.
You think a shooter's going to walk in on that when you got security armed to the teeth there? Come on.
Yeah. Texas is a good example. I mean, armed citizens, are far more of a deterrent to, if you're walking into a bar and everybody's armed, you are way less likely to act like a dumbass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same. You're not, obviously, if violence was predictable, it would be a lot easier on everybody, but it's not. Yeah. So if somebody in the right frame, or the wrong frame of mind, rather, would it be a deterrent? It should be. Mm-hmm. But, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's a crappy thing that you have to think about, but I would much rather 50% of my taxes go to that. I would much rather fund somebody knowing that somebody else's kid is safe versus just somebody being able to walk in.
I mean, regardless of beliefs, like I've always said, what kind of effect would a sign on every school saying 50% of our staff are armed?
Yeah.
I mean, what would that hurt?
Yeah.
But that's completely out of the question,
Well, you don't want to offend anybody, Joe.
Yeah, that's right.
On it.
Yeah, the gun-free signs.
Those work,
they're
Matt.
They're not doing no.
Chicago, Matt.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
Chattanooga.
Right. That should be the
office.
safest place on the planet.
Yeah,
Chi-town, but what murder capital of the world, right 100%.
There. Like daily in the
those
stats
double digits. Get ignored though.
No, it's not real, right?
I'll tell you
Obama's hometown, right? Should be the safest in the world.
I'll tell you where I don't take my firearm. That's the courthouse. If I ever have to go.
Yeah.
Other than that, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have one on. I have a few in the podcast room.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's just one of those things.
I've got 14 on me right now.
But I wish we were more. I wish we were more tolerant of beliefs. In the society, because I feel like we have just pinned each other against. I am willing to listen to anybody.
Same.
Is it going to change my mind? Has it ever? I don't know, maybe. But when I think of my beliefs and I think I want to protect my kids, I want to protect my family, I don't want my taxes going to foreign countries personally, and I just want to be able to do on my property what I want to do on my property. Otherwise, you marry who you want. I don't have to but I don't want to pay for it.
Right.
You do what you want. You act however you want. Just don't force it on me, and don't shove it down my kids' throats, and we'll be fine. You go be a zoo animal on the interstate. It doesn't matter to me.
Yep.
That's just me.
Yeah. Same. Just don't label us domestic terrorists or whatever that garbage is.
I'm not a Nazi.
No.
I'm not a white supremacist.
No, I just don't want my taxes going up. I just want to be left alone.
Yeah. It's
not
almost,
not a white supremacist. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a right-wing extremist. I just, want to do my thing.
I'm kind of more libertarian leaning in, just because I just kind of want to less taxes for me personally. Like, it's just my frame of mind, because when we start talking about that, I start thinking about also I'm paying all this crap, and now I'm listening to where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere really good. Maybe 2% is going somewhere good.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn.
I'm a patriot.
Yeah.
And I look back, because I'm a historian, I look back on history, and I look back on where our country has come from, and the sacrifices. We just took my boys, to Williamsburg, Yorktown, all that, and just, let them see the struggles that, took place so they could have what they have right now. And I look at that and I go, we're spitting on the graves of those people when we forget history. When we go, we're moving on to whatever we're moving on to with the transgender, with this, with that. And when we forget history is when we start making mistakes. And we're already seeing that, obviously.
Yeah. So, this old news, but, statues going down, taking curriculum out of the high schools and middle schools. And I just don't know that we can make it back. That's my main concern. Like, how do we make it back from this?
So I think as parents, especially, our responsibility is not to try to, as a nation, make it back. It's to keep your children and you on the right path going forward, teaching them right and wrong, teaching them history, teaching them, your beliefs. Every parent does that, right? If you're a liberal, you're teaching your kid your beliefs, right? I'm teaching my kid my beliefs and what our country was founded on.
Yep.
And our country was founded on God.
Yep.
Right? And that's the number one focus for me as a parent, my wife as a parent, to teach our kids, to raise them on God, to raise them on the sacrifice of why they have what they have.
Yep.
And to raise them on being just tough, hard-working young men. And if they don't have an education, I don't care.
Yeah.
They're going to know what a work ethic is. They're going to know what respect is. They're going to know what patriotism is. And that's what matters to me.
Do you think we'll see a civil war?
No, I don't think so. No.
I just don't think, if it came to it, I don't think there's enough men with sack enough to make that decision, to make that sacrifice. I would hope our nation is never at that point.
Me too, brother.
But if ever came to that point, the question I ask is, I know I would. I know my boys would. And I know there's a group of people that would, but it's like, I hope we never get to that point. I hope that at some point God intervenes.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because that's the only thing that's going to change anything in our nation. It's not going to be a politician. It's not going to be a professor or anything else.
Yep.
It's going to take a major change, and it's going to come from above. That's it.
Yep. I agree, man. I agree. It's. I feel like as soon as you're trying to take God out of the schools, where the kids are most influenced at an early age. They form most of their habits and their beliefs and their systems before 7. I think I read a study. It was like before 7 is when they're the most susceptible to really figuring out kind of their structure.
Yeah.
And which blows my mind, because I know men don't fully develop till like they're 30. You know,
we do.
I don't know.
I know I haven't.
I'm still growing, but I hope it never comes to that. But being a believer, I think the God thing that you're talking about is about the only hope. To bring people together is a divine intervention, and we've gotten in such a divisive place that I've got friends, that grew up with near and dear friends that it almost seems like they have just become completely irrational,
right?
Like irrational,
yeah. So
and mad, dude,
yeah.
just mad.
You can't conversate with them. No,
I'm not mad because you're stupid. You're mad at me because I think you're stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, no, everything you're saying just doesn't make sense. And I can never just have a conversation because it seems like they just have trigger words and they just have things that are just like, and as soon as you say, well, that's, not, and here's why, it's like, whoosh, fascist.
Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I am. Definitely.
Yeah.
I am.
Racist or whatever. It's funny. I talk about my boys a lot, but I was talking to Barrett. I picked Barrett up today from school, and he told me he had a test and this and that, and I said, did you pray at lunch? He said, yeah, I pray at lunch. I pray at lunch every day. Same with Dillinger. He said, in fact, Dad, the lunch lady is coming over to my table every day and praying with me at lunch. And I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? I don't really care what you make on your test. I really don't care.
Yeah.
As a dad, I know that probably sounds reckless, but man, when my boy can sit at lunch in front of all those kids and pray for his lunch, and then an adult see him do that and join him in prayer, that's a win.
To me, that's a success. That's more of a success
all the way.
than adding.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you right now, Matt will tell you, if somebody said something to Barrett about it, he'd knock their teeth out.
Yeah.
I love Barrett, and I've never met little man.
Barrett's a wild man. And
awesome.
Dillinger the same way.
Yeah.
He prays at lunch and has no shame about it. And I'm like, that's a win.
Yep.
You can grow up and be a a carpenter the rest of your life, I could care less.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of pride in that.
That is,
you
man.
know.
That is. And you know the all these people coming out of all these schools with all this school debt and all this stuff and don't know shit.
Yeah.
You know, don't know their head from a hole in the ground.
And
Can't
they
get a job.
They never talk about trade schools. It's always
Sorry.
It's
Let's
always
get closer. Yep.
It's always, a liberal college. You got to go to a university. You got to do
Yep.
this, but they don't emphasize a trade school.
Well, they
if
took
I-
it out of high school.
If I could do it different, I would probably do things. I'd probably go that way more than a university.
Yeah.
Wrestling was a big deal, but
Sure. See, but you had that was a goal. You had a goal outside of academia.
Yeah, academics didn't matter when I was in. That's another issue. Academic. I didn't care about anything about a degree when I was there. I just wanted to wrestle and have
You
a
went
little.
to Iowa, right?
Have a little. I went to Iowa, and I'm originally from Iowa. So,
Tell us who your coaches were, Matt. Come on.
Say it out loud, Matt.
Okay, so we're talking. The only thing I can really contribute to this podcast is wrestling related. So
You're a good human. And
Solid human.
You're a God-fearing man.
God,
And a good
absolutely.
friend.
And a
good
great
friend. Yeah,
And
I
you
try
wore
to be.
shorts.
I wear shorts year round.
I know. I was just
Year
You
round.
do. I wore cowboy
Every
boots
time I
year
see
round.
you, you got shorts, on.
yeah. So originally from Iowa. Grew up in Iowa and moved out here in 2002.
What brought you out here?
My brother was coaching at Virginia Tech
Oh, okay.
and just wanted to change it up.
Yeah.
Thing about Iowa is, I hated the climates. I hated the summers, very hot, humid. Winter is unbearable.
Yeah.
But just wanted to change the scenery, and I didn't really have much. I didn't have a job, didn't have really anything. Just wanted to explore a little bit,
Yeah, man.
and that was. I remember I moved out here October 1st, 2002, and here I am. 20 years later.
Yeah.
Right, 20 years later. So
Yep.
still doing the wrestling thing.
Yeah. Dude, you're good at it, right?
Well, yeah, one of very few things I'm decent at. Yeah.
What else you good at?
I've
Fishing.
no, I'm actually terrible at that.
I disagree.
I fish all the time, but I only post when I catch something.
Okay,
So,
well that's
yeah.
the life of Facebook. Man. You only post
Matt
the
took
good
me
shit.
fishing, a bunch of us fishing one night, and it was awful.
didn't
It was
catch
the
a thing.
worst experience, but it's because we were loud, talking, peeing
yeah.
in the water.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, but we had a great time.
yeah. Oh yeah, boats clanking together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's kind of like, to me, it's like that was a win.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that to catch a big ass fish, honestly.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
we brought a buddy out there, Taylor. He announced they were having twins, so
Ah,
that was a
good
cool
night.
deal. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
So
That's killer. So when did you get in law enforcement? So you were in military how long?
So military total time was 10 years.
Okay.
I got into law enforcement in 2000.
Okay.
I spent 7 years at Christiansburg Police Department.
When did you start there?
Oh gosh. Honestly, are you talking about dates or like year?
Year.
2000,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
2000, 2001, something like that.
Okay.
I spent 7.5 years at Christiansburg. Had a great time. Got deployed
Okay.
out of Christiansburg Police Department through the reserves. Got deployed. Went over to Iraq for my first tour, and came back. And when I came back from a very difficult tour,
Yeah.
I came back wired up like a banjo, tight as a banjo string.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get right back to work. And that was probably the biggest mistake I made. Got back to work.
Did it adversely affect your job?
It affected my decision making,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Were you
And
just more like
yeah,
adrenaline?
I wasn't ready to come back to civilization and deal with people's problems and help them and be the person I was supposed to be as a police officer.
Okay.
Same amount of time. Eric Sutphin from Montgomery County was murdered on the Huckleberry Trail. And during that process, during that time, some arrests were made, and I made some bad decisions. And, I was given the opportunity to resign. I'm sharing some things right now that I don't share with anybody.
Sure.
I made a bad decision, and I got out, and didn't know what to do, and was out for several months. And the sheriff from Montgomery County reached out to me and said, "Do you want to work?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to get back in law enforcement." And got back in law enforcement, loved it right away. Soon as I was at Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, the Virginia Tech Massacre happened, April 16, 2007, and I responded to that as one of the SWAT operators from Montgomery County.
Okay.
2 weeks later, I was back in Iraq for my second tour, and came back from that tour, pretty busy tour as well. And several months later, I was involved in a hostage situation at Montgomery County, and an individual lost his life, and it was because of me. You know, and I say that, I don't want to say that as it was my fault.
Yeah.
You know, I made the decision to take a person's life, and you know, and that, based on the things that I had experienced and seen and dealt with in Iraq, that was, you know, not anything that was a shock.
It wasn't new to you.
No, it wasn't new.
Yeah.
And after that, everything in law enforcement from that point on, when I got back into law enforcement, after I was on, you know, leave and everything from that shooting, you know, everything from that point on just seemed, I don't want to say that I was focused in on a little bit. You know, everything after that point, it was just more signals to me that I needed to move on.
Yeah.
And, you know, throughout my law enforcement career, I'm grateful to everybody in law enforcement that I came in contact with, everybody that was brothers to me, that are still brothers to me, my supervisors, everybody was a blessing to me.
Yeah.
It may not have seemed like it then, but now I look back at it and I go, you know, they built me as a human, they built me as a man, and created my path, you know, and that's what led me to what I do now with Tomahawk Strategic Solutions out of Nashville.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that. Actually, hold on 1 second before we get going. I got something right here.
Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, I had a special request while y'all got your show going on.
Is this?
I'll tell you, that Peggy she's always had the hots for that Collins boy there.
Okay.
Says he sings a mean John Anderson. I'll tell you, if I could just get her to hear a little Seminole wind, I believe that's about all we need tonight.
So you're requesting that Joseph give us a little John Anderson? Is that right? Or
Well,
You know, John?
yes, sir. She says he sings a mean tune.
okay. Well,
Let's hear that.
yeah. All right, caller. Thank you so much. We appreciate
Little
that.
Seminole wind?
Yeah, let's go for it. Thank you, Travis.
Blow, blow, Seminole wind. Blow like you're never gonna blow again. Blow like you're long, like a long lost friend. I know who you are.
Man.
All right. That had to come from your buddy Travis Harvey.
Oh, Travis Harvey in the house. I talked to him
Yeah.
about 20 minutes today, man.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, Travis and I go way back.
Dude, he was telling me, he said, all right. So I called him last week and I said, I know you and Joseph have history, you know, you're buddies. And he said, oh man, he's like, the stories that dude has. He said, you probably won't hear 99.9% of the good stuff. But he said, if we can get him to either sing John Anderson or Willie Nelson or
You
both.
were always on my mind.
Damn
You were
it.
always on my mind.
I nailed it, dude. Oh gosh, man. I had no idea.
Travis and
Yeah.
I go way back. He is, you know, talking about friends you have, you know, you can see him for every day of your life and you can not see him for 4 years and they're still,
Yep.
you know, you're very, very close friends. And I consider Travis a very close friend. We went through a lot together and been through a lot together in law enforcement and had a great time doing it.
So he told me to ask you, he said, make sure you ask him about your first date with your wife.
Oh, Lord. Tammy's going to kill me. So, first date with my wife. So, how I met my wife, pulled up in the red light at Walmart parking lot. My buddy's driving my truck, and I'm in the passenger seat, and this smoking hot chick pulls up next to me in this blue Ford probe.
Oh, man.
I look
Say
over.
no more, my friend.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's a probe.
Damn.
Yeah. So I look
with
over
the
and I'm like,
Berettas.
whoa. I was like, Harry, follow her. So we followed her all the way to her house.
Oh.
And she pulls up in her driveway, and I didn't realize it, but her mom was in the car with her. So I get out and ask her for her phone number and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I get her phone number. We set up a date. I got this old Ranger pickup truck, man. Sweet. Half of it primer. Tailgate, I've spray painted farm use.
Damn.
Or cotton farm use on the
Cotton
tailgate.
farm.
Cotton farm use.
Specific
Yeah.
use.
Yeah, specific use. Yep. On the tailgate. Pull up in her parking lot or in her driveway, and she pulls, comes out, and I get her in the truck, and
Well, he said there was something spray painted on the truck.
hi, Tammy, on the side of the truck, all the way down the side.
Solid.
So
Yeah.
you spray painted the name of your first date with Tammy
Yeah,
on the side of your truck.
dude.
Golden.
Sold.
Best best investment ever.
Yeah. Ever.
You didn't
Yeah.
have to buy her a ring.
No.
You just had to buy
Dude.
some mops.
Dude.
Hi, Tammy.
I mean, she was hooked. She saw my redneck truck, me, hi, Tammy. Probably spelt it wrong because I went to Gateway. No, it was great, man.
T-A-M-I-Y.
Yeah, EE. No, but yeah, it's pretty memorable first date, and from there it was on, man. She was just a young little lady.
Little vixen.
Yeah, little vixen. I was 19. I think she was 15.
Yeah.
Robbed the cradle.
Dang it, dude.
But we've been married, since 2001.
Forever. And you've been married for a while. I've known Lauren, I
few
guess.
years, yeah.
Yeah, for
Well, yeah, Richard.
Richard and
Yeah.
Lauren and Eddie. Eddie used to give me the most ridiculous tickets.
He gave me a
No
ticket.
passes. Gives no
Zero.
passes.
So here's what's funny. All right, my funniest Eddie story. Right, I was looking at my phone the whole time, making sure I didn't miss Travis's call. He just texted me and said, "If that sucked and you need something more, let me know."
That's great.
I'm just gonna send him a picture. I used to work over at University, the car dealership going across from the hospital, and that's when I had my Prelude. And Prelude had a turbo on it. It was I built it. It was fun. And I was doing a nasty burnout after work one day. And Eddie came around. Of course, I think he handled inspections sometimes or did something.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
They did.
But he came around and he pulled me over in that parking lot and gave me a ticket for doing a burnout in that parking lot. That was one of the good ones. And the second one he gave me, I was getting gas at the Shell station on the backside of Sheeler, right? And he pulls in while I'm pumping gas and starts measuring my bumper.
I don't blame him.
I went,
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah,
I looked at Eddie and I said,
"You had that coming."
I said,
that.
"Eddie, measure your bumper." And he was like, "All right." He went over. Mine was 13 and a half bumper to ground. It was supposed to be 14. His was 12 and a half.
Still wrote you a
He
ticket.
said, "It's from the factory. That's different." I was like, "Dang it." Yeah, I got a ticket. The most ridiculous ticket I've ever gotten, right? I had 41 non-moving violations. 41. That's a one. It was always tint, too low, exhaust, whatever, Chromer.
I didn't write you, did I?
No.
Okay.
Chromer.
Oh, yes, of course.
Potato Head wrote me.
Oh, Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, that dude got an orb. Bill Baker had an absolute bone. Shaq, which I'm friends with Shaq now.
Yeah.
He's Andy. But they just wrote me. But the worst one that I got, or the funniest one I got, I put a Nissan Skyline front end on my Prelude, right? I wasn't going to drill into this 4,000 front end to put a bumper or put a license plate on it. I was
No
young.
front tag.
Yeah, no front tag. So I got my first ticket and I paid it. Second one, I had to go to court. It was like $200. I was like, okay, well, that's still cheaper than a front end on my vehicle. The second one, I went over and the judge was like, what are you doing? How many of these are you going to get? And at the time, I was young and dumb and a smart ass. And I said, well, Your Honor, I've never been pulled over in reverse. And I think it's just a market to make more money for the state, having to pay for 2 tickets instead of 1. $350. Don't do it again. I was like, okay. I paid it and went on my way. Still didn't put a bumper or a tag
That's
on
great.
it. It was just one of those things to me. It just didn't make sense, But anyway.
What other stories did Travis tell you?
Oh, there's a bunch.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I
I know
don't-
he had to talk about radio traffic because
he
we
did
had a
radio traffic.
Oh man, we would get on what we call Sirs Radio
Yep.
at night on midnight board. We'd go up in Sheeler parking lot and we'd start talking to the truckers and farting on the radio. It was great, man. It was great, man. We would crack some good ones. I know Travis remembers that, and and when he listens to this, he's going to be cracking up because
Yep. We talked for 20 minutes today. And the only other one, he said that you used to do some drug stakeouts
oh yeah,
that were funny. You'd get bored.
yes,
Now, if you want to go with that, you
Send
go with
it.
that.
Send it.
Send it. Full send, whatever you want to do.
go ahead.
You want me
So
to?
yeah,
Okay. Are you sure?
Is he talking about the one?
Yes.
Yes, send it.
Okay. So from
That house is no longer there, by the way.
All right. So what he told me is there's a old park in Depot, basically, down below Kroger. That is a nice park now, right? He said you guys were bored one night. No, nothing was happening. There was no drugs being consumed or sold. So what did y'all do, Joseph?
I didn't do anything. It was all Travis.
It was
I
all
mean, he
Travis.
just started launching rocks at this house.
At this drug house?
Yeah, at the drug house.
Supposed drug house.
Yeah, it
There was
was
nothing happening.
There was a lot of history there.
Okay, all right,
you know, I'll give it to Travis for that. But I kept telling him, Travis, don't do that. Please don't do that. You're going to get us in trouble. But he wouldn't listen.
I will never do this, Travis.
Yeah.
Get in the car, Travis.
So, yeah, we were having a competition who could throw rocks over the house or at the house or
Through the house.
close to the house, whatever.
But you've never been stuck like under a porch or anything, have you?
Yeah. Actually, one night I was stuck under a porch. He told you that story too, huh?
I don't know.
I got peed over one night, laying under a porch, listening to drug conversation in the house, and had night vision on. And that was one of my favorite things in law enforcement, to get out and get in the woods and get true data and intel.
Yes.
And that was what I was good at.
Yeah,
and but I did almost get peed on one night. It was pretty interesting. But
That is dumb.
But anyway, my law enforcement career was part of my foundation, and I wouldn't trade a day for the world.
You know, I think the commonality, is that a word?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. So the commonality that I find, and the reason I wanted to have you guys on, is because I think the structure and the organism that lives within you both boils down to really at the core is the structure and values that both wrestling and military and law enforcement can share.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because if you are unstructured in law enforcement, what happens?
It'll bite you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you just, if you're unstructured in law enforcement, you're not going to be successful.
And what happens if you're not structured in wrestling?
It'll just rear its ugly head. You know, when you get taken to deep waters, you know, in a tough match against a disciplined cat, it's
What makes discipline? Is it the wind in a wrestler? Is it the determination?
Well, it starts early, like what you were talking about. It starts early. Commitment, dedication, work ethic.
yeah.
Doing
And is that something you can teach?
Yeah, sure. But it comes down. I get these kids for hour and a half, 2 hours, 2-3 times a week. I can only do so much. They get more outside of the room. Unfortunately, a lot of it comes down to them, their parents. I can only do so much in that short window, but it boils down to a lifestyle.
It is. It is a lifestyle, right?
It's absolutely a lifestyle. Wrestling. People say wrestling's not for everybody, but I think it is for everybody. You don't have to be the most athletic. You don't
Stop
have
trying to kick me, man.
cramp in here.
Do you need some water? Do you need a potassium shot?
No, I'm good. I got the Deer Park here.
All right, perfect.
What was I talking
Joseph,
about
stop
here?
trying to kick me.
Sorry. It's my cowboy boots, man.
No, in the sport of wrestling, it's very, they equate wrestling to life. If you're willing to come in every day, work hard, be willing to get knocked down, get back up, be tough, be resilient, you will succeed in the sport of wrestling. Sounds like a lot like life, you know, and that's kind of what it teaches. Teaches you how to work towards goals. We talked about goals. I'm a big goal guy. You know, we set them, we work towards them. If we fall short, we figure out why. And no, it's just it. You know, they say after, you know, once you wrestle, everything's easy, and you know, a lot of that's true.
Kind of makes sense, right?
Makes sense. You know, you're well prepared for the battle. You know, it's nothing like what Joe's gone through. You know, the military. You know, we're nothing like that. But
I see that in my own boys. You know, them understanding and learning and how to overcome defeat and loss. And it's funny when it initially happens. It's a heartbreaker to them because they know the work they put in.
Yeah.
But when they lose, it's heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. But what they don't understand is a day later, they won't really think about it. A day later, it's like, okay, let's get back and figure out why I lost.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, for my little guy, you know, he's legally blind. So wrestling is, for him, it's his place.
Yeah.
It's where he belongs. He loves it. For Dillinger, my oldest, you know, he has come through a lot of adversity, and I've seen him come through a lot of adversity. Barrett, I think Matt would agree. You know, Barrett's seen adversity, but he has had a lot of success, and that's you know, common for a lot of kids, and for other kids, it's not. Yeah. And for other kids, they have to work harder at it. And I've seen my older son, you know, Dillinger, just work. His work ethic. You know, and Matt may disagree, but his work ethic is right up there at the top. He works hard. His emotions sometimes gets the best of him sometimes, but
when you care,
he's growing up and he's learning and he cares.
Yeah.
And man, to see his progression over the past 7 years of wrestling to turn him into the young man that he is, again, like Matt said, wrestling is just a part of it. The man that he's becoming is what's important to me.
Yeah.
And man, it's phenomenal to see. And I don't think he would see that without wrestling.
Yeah.
He wouldn't see that without a coach like Matt, you know, and Barrett wouldn't see the success he's had without a coach like Matt.
Yeah.
And so,
it's high
you know,
praise. It's high praise.
Yeah. High praise, man. You know, Matt deserves that. He doesn't, you know, for years he coached, you know, at another club and didn't get a lot of recognition. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of somebody that puts the time in, the dedication that Matt has, the volunteering that Matt has done. You know, he deserves that recognition. And for the kids that you would see when you come in there to watch them on a night of practice and the dedication and the hard work they put in, they don't put it in all for themselves. They put it in because Matt asked them to. They do it for their coach.
Coach Matt, yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And that's, you know, that to me, outside of parenting and what you both do on a normal basis, you say I only get them 3 times a week for an hour and a half. I'm willing to bet a lot of the parents don't get them 3 times a week for an hour and a half outside of school.
Yeah.
So what you're doing has way more impact than you're giving yourself credit for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I see the posts. I see those kids getting after it, and I see the pride. You can see it, bro.
That's the word right there.
You can
pride.
see it.
There's a lot of pride in that room.
Yeah.
Right.
You
There's
can literally see it.
Nothing wrong with that. Having pride in today's time.
No, you
Absolutely
need it.
not.
You need to be able to know that in your heart, you want to do what it takes to succeed. Success has been demonized, bro.
Right.
It's like if you're successful, it's almost frowned upon. Like I went to, it's a different mentality.
It's like you didn't work for it. It's like it was just given to you.
People automatically think, well, that must have been easy.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in the music business, right? People always say, oh, that must have been cool. It must have been, rock stars and blah, 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 and doing all that. I'm like, dude, you have no idea how hard I worked. How hard it was.
Like the iceberg picture, you know, the success above water, dude. You don't see everything below it that took to get there.
That struggle, that being away from your family, the uncomfortableness of sleeping going 75 miles an hour every night of your life for 15 years, you know, being oversized in a bus. You know what I'm saying? That shit sucks, dude. So when people are successful, like coming from a city, like I lived in Nashville for 15 plus years, You know, it was just kind of the norm. People didn't judge. It was face value. You are what you are. You know, there wasn't the judginess that I see coming back to a small town. And that's one of the things that I personally have struggled with. And I think you probably had a struggle coming and making the transition from military back to police work.
Yeah.
Because you're used to a certain level, a certain caliber of person, a certain commitment within that person, and a certain expectation of yourself, what you have to offer, and that you're freaking good at it. You know what I mean? And it's okay to be good at it. And when I came back here, it's like the e-brake got pulled. And I was like, oh, you know, like, okay, I had to restructure my brain. It was me. It wasn't the people. The people still are different. But it was my perception and mentality of what I was supposed to be. And when I realized I'm here to be a servant, I'm here now for my kids, my wife. I'm not here for, this isn't my career, this isn't my name, this isn't what. I made that decision to come off the road, focus on my family, and be dad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Be that person. So, you know, moving from Iowa, you started over. Coming back from you know, serving in Iraq and doing that, you started over, right? Every time. Did you feel like a massive reset? Did you feel a reset when you came here? Were you just completely lost at first, or?
No, it was a fresh start, I guess.
Yeah.
New people, making new friends, continuing kind of the same path, what I've been doing, wrestling and that. But no, it was different. It was different, a good different.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of similarities here and where I came from. You know, I was rural.
Yeah.
I was obviously where I grew up, very rural. It's rural here.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of similarities. A lot of good people here, a lot of good people there. You know, I miss my family back home and all that, and miss the farm. But no, it was a good change. You know, if you know, I like traveling. I like, you know, if I was a single guy, you know, I don't know if I'd still be here. I'd like to go south. I'd like to go west. You know, I like to explore. Mm-hmm. You know, I like the new starts, meet new people.
Yeah. And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
If you allow yourself to do it. My problem was I didn't allow myself for a while. I was kind of like, this damn place, these damn people, this mentality.
No, I hear a lot of local people just you know, trash this area, and this place is you know, beautiful. Yep. Some of the best scenery you'll ever see, and people are, for the most. I mean, I think they're great, and if I stay here the rest of my life, so be it. I mean, a lot worse place out there.
Oh gosh,
could be California, right? Could be
could be anywhere.
Could be Chicago.
Coast.
Your place, Chicago, right?
But dude, I'd feel safe there.
Where?
Chicago.
We take a lot for granted.
Yeah.
in this area.
Yeah,
you know,
this is a wonderful area.
And I had to do that, man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I thought it was about me.
Yeah.
And in retrospect and looking back, you know, I was a petty son of a bitch.
Why isn't this podcast about you?
It is about
you got
Joe.
you got a great story, man.
We got to find out more about Rob.
No. So anyway, Phil.
Phil's hammered right now.
Yeah, Phil is blackout drunk.
Yeah,
naked too.
He's looking for groundhogs.
He's shaving something.
Whistle pigs.
Yep. So current events, man. Let's just dive into some stupidity. All right.
Oh Lord,
that's what we've been doing.
There's a ton of that going on.
Oh no, we're just starting. So Corvettes.
Documents.
I was talking about car shows, Matt, but let's talk about documents. Are you talking about Biden?
We're talking stupidity, right?
Yeah. So this whole debacle that's going on right now with our president and the documents and some super classified stuff, and the fact that Hunter Biden, his address on his driver's license is the actual residence that the Corvette and the documents were stored in. And we all kind of know how much that dude can be trusted.
What, he's not? You can't trust him?
Well, I mean, no. You know, it's just been proven that they have all taken money from communist countries. and China has been involved in multiple sections of private sector investment.
Excuse me.
Oh, you're fine.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. But I feel like for once, CNN is actually giving this dude the beans, man.
I have not watched that in
So I turned
Fill us
Several-
in, Rob,
several
'cause I
months.
don't watch the TV.
I don't either, but I'm on social media, and when
Yep.
something sparks me, I'm like, what's the real deal, you know? So CNN, I watched The Five or something on Fox, right? And they played a clip of CNN actually saying, hey, this dude's irresponsible. He should actually get the same treatment that Trump did whenever he had classified documents. The only difference is, right, Biden got those documents when he was the vice president. He didn't have,
Isn't that worse?
it's worse.
Okay.
He didn't have the ability to declassify anything like Trump did,
Like a president, right?
correct? So didn't Trump get raided by the FBI completely armed with assault rifles, right?
Yeah, I believe he did, actually.
And what happened to Biden? Didn't they just kind of send some guys in there? They found some. Here's the kicker to me. He claims he didn't know. There's okay, but they found a classified document in his personal library. So in order for that to happen, like in a mind that kind of works, goes to so that classified document had to move with intent from the classified case into his personal library. So him denying that in his personal library was a classified document and he had no knowledge of that, what do you think? What are your thoughts, man?
What are my thoughts?
Yeah, please let me know. Fill me in. You're smiling. I like it.
I think the FBI is just as worthless as the Democrat Party.
Given. Okay.
I think they're all in it together. You hear the deep state, quote unquote. I mean, I don't know how much more obvious it could be.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Love him or hate him, Trump wasn't. I'll say this: he's not in the deeps. He's an outsider. He's a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he getting harassed by both sides of the aisle?
Yep.
I mean, there's just as many on the right as there is the left.
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
as soon as we can all admit that it's all just a play, that they're all just kind of working, they're all in pockets of somebody else. I mean, there are few and far between at that freaking level that aren't influenced.
I mean, when is the last time you've seen anybody attacked like Trump has? How both
Never.
sides don't want him in. Why don't they want him in?
He's a
After
truth-sayer.
what he did in those 4 years, the economy, the tax. I mean, why don't they want him in for the American people?
'Cause
There's reasons why.
It's too good for the people, Matt.
Uh,
And this isn't for the people. This is for the advancement of the agenda, the advancement of the pocketbooks of all these independent players. That's what it's about.
right. Trump, I mean, he was far from perfect, but
He was brash, man.
but I would
Is that a word?
I'd rather take brash than
I could
what we
care
got right now.
I
I'd
could
take
care
some
less.
shitty tweets.
I could
Yeah,
care. Yeah,
totally.
right. I could care less what he puts on Twitter.
Yeah.
Most of it was true.
Yeah.
You just didn't want.
And he had a
Pe-
strategy.
People wanted.
He
to,
wasn't an idiot like
No.
people think he's an idiot. Like
No.
he had a strategy. He's not a dumb guy. He's pretty smart.
He wasn't an ear tickler. I mean,
No.
People want. They'd rather be lied to their face pleasantly than the ugly truth.
I
100%.
guarantee you he didn't crap his pants
Yeah, he didn't soil.
as a president.
he didn't
either.
soil himself daily.
daily.
Listen, dude, as soon as you fall off a bike, just pack it up. We're done here, right? We're done. I'm riding my bike. I'm done here.
Yeah.
That's what I would, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'd be like,
I mean, people were sketching it out.
What
It
about
was-
what about the Air Force One? The 4 or 5 tumbles up the stairs.
I'm done here. Right? I'm
I just think
absolutely
that was
done.
I think that was a legit, just accidental trip. You know.
You know the thing.
So is that really Joe Biden? There's the next question. Have you seen all the
Yeah,
conspiracies about
he
it? Whoa,
looks
whoa,
different
whoa.
in every picture.
His earlobes.
His
Have you seen
his
ear-
cheekbones.
Yeah. Now that can be done.
Yeah, I mean, he's
That
plastic
can be-
surgery because the guy's a freaking.
Oh, dude, he's
He's
a
a
piece of paper.
lunatic.
He's a piece of paper mache at this point. Right? He's so
Papier-mâché.
pulled. He's so pulled thin. But here's my thing: if you look at his earlobes, you know, some people have attached and detached earlobes. He used to have detached earlobes, right? Now the suckers are attached.
That's to pull his cheekbones.
What do you think?
think?
What do you
Skin up.
think's going there on with the lobes, Rob?
AI. I swear.
You think he's an alien?
I don't know if he's an alien, but I might think he's an alien. I don't know if it's the same dude, man. If you look at his mannerisms,
I don't know. I think if they would have plugged in an alien, they could at least communicate, talk, complete a sentence, something.
I don't know, man. It depends on how many
Walk,
souls
ride
he's
a bike.
consumed that day. Right? I don't know. You know, I'm just going off left, but I mean, it's probably the same dude. He is.
If it's not the same dude, do you think the other dude is pooing his pants?
I think he's frozen somewhere cryogenically,
Like Austin Powers,
like him or who else?
International Man of Mystery.
Yes, dude. Yeah, maybe we can bring him back, and the same shitty person will be there, but just later in time. I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's, you know, to me, that's one of those things that.
So one thing I missed while we're on
Yeah.
this type of topic.
Yeah, please.
The JFK files.
Okay.
So I don't watch the news anymore
All right.
because they're all worthless, right? They're all told what to say. Fox, CNN, all of them.
They run teleprompters.
And ever since Fox turned their back on Trump and did all that, I never watch them again. But so the JFK files.
All right.
So fill me in, Rob. Were the feds in on the assassination, or because that's
Listen, I'm not
that's my gathering.
Ever since Fox put Rob O'Neill on as the shooter of Bin Laden, total joke.
All right. So let me tackle JFK first. So in my opinion, that was scripted. I'm not as educated as I'd like to be on the JFK stuff, but to me, there were just too many coincidences. They got to the dude entirely too fast. You know what I mean? Like if you, in that day and age,
Right.
there's not surveillance. There's not stuff really going on. You might have a couple guys on a roof somewhere, but it just seemed way too convenient that they got that dude like that. Right? Is
Yeah.
that just me? Or
No.
you've been in those situations. How often does not even a militia, but not even a sheriff's department, are they able to apprehend a shooter that quickly?
Well, I think it's hard for me to make that call because of technology that has changed from then to now.
Sure, yeah.
Like it's tough to say because we did have different resources than what they had then.
Yeah. Matt's gonna go. Matt's gonna take a dump. Take those headphones off, or you're gonna pull the whole thing
Oh.
down. He just almost pulled the wall down.
Lauren, your husband has to poo.
JFK talk.
Yeah, just at the
No, I
top
just
of the
thi-
steps, buddy.
I think technology and surveillance, everything's different. So for me to be able to make a judgment call on what happened then, it's tough, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not educated enough.
Me either, and that's why I don't want to make a call on it. For us, a lot of things changed, and we were able to, with cell phones and cell phone towers and a lot of different things, emails, Facebook, social media,
Yeah.
surveillance, drones, all the different things that we were able to utilize as assets, definitely gave us an edge versus,
Sure.
40, 50 years, 60 years, wherever.
Yeah, you've got a scope.
Yeah.
you
So-
know, and that's I couldn't even dream to make that call. you
Yeah.
know? I mean, there's just so much. Everything's blurry. The resolution of everything is terrible on file that you can see. I don't know. I
Right.
don't know enough about it.
Yeah, me either. I've watched a bunch of documentaries on it, and it's all interesting.
Yeah.
But it, nothing ever really nails anything down.
Yeah. So I see a lot. Not recently. I haven't seen you do a lot of like kind of World War II stuff.
So yeah, I do. I haven't been to any like reenactments. October was my last real, I guess, step back in time.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to be a part of the World War II airborne demonstration team for quite a number of years.
Yeah.
And me and my sons went to the Reading Air Show and set up and did a big display there last summer. And the airborne demonstration team was there, and they approached me and asked me if I'd like to be a part. And I finally made the decision to do it. And I was already airborne qualified, so I only had to do a refresher course with out in Oklahoma with the World War II Airborne Demonstration Team. But I decided to go through the whole entire course.
That's awesome, man.
Get the full experience. Got voted in as a class leader, and that was great because we had just a phenomenal group of people that went through. A lot of civilians, never been in the military, so learning drill for the first time, learning how to march for the first time, how to fall in, all those different things were really cool to see. From us, the military people that were involved, it was like kind of second nature, but to see these people that had stepped out of their comfort zone to go, I'm going to do something cool and
yeah, dude,
train and jump out of a World War II airplane,
That's
a C-47. So 2 of them.
Yeah.
So I went through and, got my jumps and have more jumps. And I couldn't be happier to be a part of the World War II Airborne Demonstration Team family. Like, this new step in my life has just opened up a lot of opportunities. I'm going to hopefully get to jump in Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
No way.
So we will
How cool is
actually
that shit?
take off from England, from Portsmouth area,
Do the flight?
fly over the channel, jump on original drop zones in World War II gear out of World War II planes for the 80th anniversary. And if I can get to do that,
That's awesome, dude.
my boys and my wife and some friends are going to go with us, and they're going to get to watch me jump. And if they get to do that and I get to do that, man, a lot has been accomplished in my life.
That is cool.
I'm
dude.
such a collector of World War II. I'm such a historian of World War II, with both of my grandfathers, serving in World War II. That's going to be a huge accomplishment for me. And,
100%.
the family that I've already established at the Airborne Demonstration Team is pretty awesome.
So the house that we're in, I actually bought from the estate of my great uncle, Scott Weaver, and he was World War II. And when he passed, the house was pretty much in a time capsule, right? He hadn't been downstairs in a decade. He hadn't gone through anything. So as a family member, I inherited quite a bit of cool things and things that I found as we sifted through,
That's awesome.
And some of the things that I found were tucked away, like in the ceiling. And one of them was an old, looked like the back of a magazine, like a thick print magazine. And there were a bunch of Nazi pins stuck in it, like a bunch of them, like a slew of Nazi pins. I was like, okay, And he never really talked about the war. The only time that he ever talked about it, I had a school project. And I wish I was more educated. I was a young kid. And he talked about what he did in the war. And how, just the eyes of the people. He said he kept coming back to it. He said, the only thing that I remember were the eyes of the people that I had to kill. I was like, okay. And as a young kid, it didn't have the same impact as when I found the stuff that I found.
Right.
I was like, okay, so he probably took that off of a soldier, And check this out.
Oh, man. Watches. Look at the watch I've got on right now.
Joe's a watch guy.
I'm a watch guy. This is a 1943 Elgin I've got on.
Check that one out. So that was in the same location.
So
now
I want to say this is a Bulova.
it is.
It is a Bulova.
Yeah. And it was in the same location, and I've never had anything done with it. I just put it up, because I didn't know, And for you guys that are listening, this is a World War II era watch. I'm presuming you would probably know, it seems like from what I've seen and what I've researched that was the era of the watch.
That's the watch. That's the A11 Bulova.
Yeah.
Beautiful watch.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of them, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
Have you tried to wind it?
I have not.
It'll work.
Yeah, that is so cool, man. But I kept it here, just because I feel the presence of him sometimes from time to time in the house.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of our Easters and stuff here. And this house, when I got it, it was finished out, but it had taken on water, right? So everything was either mildewed or ruined for the most part. All the papers, all the stuff. I found a bunch of old, cool, Playboys and cool stuff like that. But the memorabilia that I found, I went out into his garage. Well, it was the shed, right? And that's where he always dried his deer feet, because he would do like mounts for guns and stuff.
Right.
And he had some salt out there and stuff like that. And I looked behind one of the gas cans, one of the old timey gas cans that he had out there, and there was a beret. And there was also an end of what looked to be one of the what's the bayonet. So I still have the bayonet. Awesome. It's like it's brand new. Wow. But it's got markings, it's got Reich markings, or however you say it, just amazing stuff that I found along the way. And to me, like, knowing you do the World War II stuff, I want to find that stuff and I want to give it to you. I want to find some of those things because I don't know those things, and I appreciate him, and I know that to him, he would appreciate that I would want to give that gesture to you. So I'm going to find a couple of those things. And if you would be gracious enough to kind of take those and put them and teach your kids about it, and I've got some stuff I want to teach my kids about, that would be awesome. It would be an honor for me.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Well, I tell people, and I'll tell you, Rob, people have donated and given me things because I have a small museum. Mm-hmm. Those things will never go anywhere. Your kids will always, always, always be able to get those things back. I'll do the research. I'll do the hard work on getting the information and whatever I can do.
Awesome.
To give you some information and maybe some closure, or whatever the case may be, man. I'll give you some information on it, man. I've got some good resources in Washington, D.C. that can really find out some good stuff. So
that'd be awesome. The biggest things that, like, the questions that I have are those pins. Yeah. Because some of them have, they've kind of taken on rust, a little bit of rust and stuff like that, but they're clearly marked. They've got a couple crosses.
And they're German.
Yeah.
So they're probably called what they call tinnies.
Okay.
And there are things that the soldiers would collect, or they would be given at an event of some sort. So very, very cool.
That's awesome.
Man, that generation,
dude,
like, it crushes me to know that the generation now doesn't know anything about that generation.
Yeah.
Those 18, 17, 16-year-old kids that hit Omaha Beach, that sand that I gave you tonight.
That is so cool. Thank you so much.
Oh, buddy. I collected that sand in 2008 from my grandfather. My grandfather was in the fourth wave at Omaha Beach as an engineer. And when my wife surprised me with a trip to Normandy when I came back from Iraq in 2008, and I went, and my goal was to collect some sand from my grandfather. And,
that's amazing.
And you have some of that tonight. So.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, brother.
Thank you. Well, consider it a trade, my friend.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So what's next for Machine Shop, man? Where are you guys going? Machine Shop.
Let's try this again.
Listen, fall back and regroup. Machine Shop is a place we played. It was a venue.
That's what Phil calls it. Phil calls it Machine Shop.
We don't play in the shed.
Okay. So
there's no
what's next?
Is
there like I know you said kind of outside of like the high school and all that stuff, kind of where you guys focus is more of not a rec league per se, but what's the structure that you guys compete at?
It kind of varies,
brother.
It kind of varies. We got a kid like Barrett, who's fourth grade, right? Fourth grade. Yep. Who can compete with almost any middle schooler.
Okay.
So we're looking at we got both kind of local, regional competition, and then we got national level kids.
Yeah. So where did the competitions happen? I am absolutely ignorant when it comes to wrestling. Like, I know there's high school sports, right? I know Christiansburg was good for a while.
Right.
I don't know if they still are.
No, they've like any dynasty, they're rebuilding.
Okay.
They've had a lot of coaching changes at the high school level.
Okay. But your kids and a lot of the people that come
My
into
kids
the shed,
are from all areas, from Christiansburg, Blacksburg. I got a Lewisburg kid. I got a Bristol kid. I got kid from Franklin County, Lynchburg. So they come from all over, and they represent different schools.
Okay. So it's school. They do most of it at a high school or middle school or level.
Yeah, so we're club. So that's where it gets kind of confusing. There's school wrestling and then there's club.
Okay.
Kind of like what you're seeing in baseball, right? You got the travel league.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, we travel. So the last few years we spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania.
Did you hear that?
Uh-oh, who's calling me? Is that Joe?
So listen, most of the time I go to bed at 9:30. Okay.
Oh.
And that was just my little reminder. Say,
Okay.
Rob, it's time for the CP time.
No.
But tonight's different.
Right.
because We're
Now
partying.
you got a couple special guests here.
I do.
So yeah, we spend when we coach these kids, I try not to measure. Our measuring stick's not the local competition. We like to go up to Pennsylvania, which we can get there in about 3.5, 4 hours.
Okay.
In some parts of PA. PA's the mecca of wrestling.
I was going to say that.
A lot of people think Iowa, which is still very, very good. Don't get me wrong. PA is where all the top hammers come out of. That's
Okay.
where we go to spend a lot of our competition. That's our measuring stick. That's how we gauge where we're at.
Gotcha.
They're Ohio, Jersey, those type. So
Yeah. So Northeast is got a bunch of
exactly.
chiseled hammers.
Yeah, but the South is getting really, really, really good at wrestling.
Okay.
Really good at wrestling. Virginia's getting good. Tennessee has crazy good clubs down there. Georgia, believe it or not, is really good at wrestling.
Okay.
Alabama's getting good at wrestling. Things you'd never heard.
That's wild.
Like wrestling is at an all-time high in America right now at all levels, from youth to middle school, high school, college,
What do you attribute that
and
to?
then international.
Is that kind of just
So,
awareness?
The club wrestling scene. So
Okay.
you got world-class wrestlers coaching clubs right now.
Okay.
And it's really branched out, and you have college level coaches coaching youth. Not saying I'm a college level coach, but I'm saying that's going on across America.
Okay.
You're seeing high school kids going to some of these college.
Matt, you are a college level coach.
I was
Well,
waiting on it.
man.
I was waiting on it. I knew he was going to. He's got your back.
Well,
man.
I'm talking.
He
So
never gives himself credit.
Well,
Like, it
here's
annoys the crap out of me.
but he
so-
stays humble, man.
He is. He's a humble guy. I appreciate
him
that.
level.
yeah,
level-headed.
no, I'll never brag about myself
You don't
as a
need to.
wrestler. I will say I've been in some really, really good programs. I've been taught by some really, really good coaches.
Yeah. Shout outs. Give him shout outs, man.
So, high school coach Jay Hosky, South Tama, Todd Heidengarter, Steve Houghton.
Was that English? Did you catch that?
I don't know what he said.
There's some things I can rattle off.
Okay, rattle it off.
Like
He
Joe,
says South Hammond.
South Tama, yeah. And then we went to University of Iowa. We had Dan Gable, Tom Brands, Terry Brands, Jim Zaleski.
So you get sick of hearing about Lesnar?
No, not at all. I love talking about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so my brother wrestled Brock.
Yeah.
That's maybe you should get a remote something with my brother. Talk about those battles. That's interesting.
That's cool.
He wrestled Brock
He was
several
a badass,
times.
right?
Who, Brock?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, so
very
is his
very much
brother.
so.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't give Brock doesn't get the respect he really deserves as an amateur wrestler. That dude was big and can move.
Yeah.
My brother beat Brock in a dual meet in Minnesota, and then wrestled him in the NCAA finals. Went to double overtime, lost in double overtime.
That's insane, man.
But Brock, I mean, they were.
That's a big deal,
That's a
dude.
big- that's a
That
big
is a
dude.
huge deal.
Yeah, I think Brock lost like 3 times in college. One was to my brother. They actually became friends. They met at some.
They met on the mat.
No, it was off the
sorry.
mat. It was off the mat actually. I think it was in New Orleans. They met at a. It was at a wrestling event, but they weren't competing. My brother was coaching. Brock was down there for a WWE or F event.
Okay.
But he went there to watch, and they hooked up. They went out and buried the hatchet. And Brock, they still text. They keep in touch. Brock invited my brother to train with him.
James just died. You good, buddy?
Hang in there, James.
He doesn't like hearing the Brock stories.
He's sick of it. All right, carry on.
And I think it was when Brock was fighting Frank Mir for the second time.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember the first one?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it was the first. It was the second one. Because Frank and my brother had similar body types.
Yeah.
They kind of moved the same. And my brother just, I think, got hooked up with a different. He stopped coaching, got in a different job. He just started. He couldn't take it. He was going to pay my brother a decent amount of cash just to train with him for like, I think 8-10 weeks.
No way.
Getting ready, front row tickets. I was like,
Do
you got to
this.
take advantage. You got to take me. We're going. You know,
We're doing this.
we're doing this thing. I don't care if you get fired. We're going. Didn't happen. They kept in touch. Yeah, which is cool. You know, once you stop competing, you know those. You know, it's time to, you know, kind of communicate with your enemies. You know, I heard a really good saying. You know, wrestling's like a brotherhood of enemies, and it's kind of true. You know, both guys are working to achieve the same goal, so you can't really hate the guy for that. But that's a cool story. My brother wrestling Brock.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So
Brock-
what happened to Brock? Didn't he have like some stomach issues? Like
Diverticulitis.
yeah.
So he had 12 inches taken out of his one of his intestines, and then he fought
Right after that.
Alistar
Yeah.
and got
Overeem, right?
got kneed there and crumbled.
Yeah.
And then he fought Kane.
He didn't look good on the Overeem fight.
After the surgery, he's never the same guy.
yeah.
No.
So
It just takes it out.
I
of
will
you.
say, if you caught Brock right out of college, if Brock didn't go WWE, if he went straight UFC, he would have slaughtered a lot of people.
What'd he weigh?
So in college, it was what was the cap back then? I think it was 275 back then. I remember my brother saying he told me the weigh-ins. It was Brock weighed 267 and my brother weighed 258. I think he told me.
That's some big boys.
So not a whole lot of difference there.
Like 6 foot, 6'2", something
Brock
like that?
was 6'3". Wes is my brother. He's
Yeah.
6'2".
Okay.
So
That's some meat, dude.
so
I'm on a good day, my wife will say, "You're not 6'7" anymore." Like my back, you know, my
you
back.
used to be 6'7".
Well, I'm 6'6" and a half.
I know you were tall, but
Yeah, I'm
You
tall.
are a tall dude.
Yeah, it sucks.
that's what I was telling. I was like, he's a skinny dude, right? I was like, no, Rob's a big dude.
I'm like, he's a tall, real thin guy, right? I'm like, he's like, Matt's like, no, dude, he's a big dude.
Dude,
Hey, so
yeah.
I got to hear about the nail bending and
Oh, yeah.
tell me a little bit about that, Rob.
So, in Nashville, I was neighbors with a strongman. He competed, and big dude, my height, but like 320, just a horse of a guy. And I'd hear him deadlifting all the time, you know, and I had gone through my stages where I like to be fit and you know do these, you know, try to put on some weight. When I graduated from high school, I was 6'7", 6'6" if you ask my wife, and I was probably 175 pounds. So I was light, you know, for that size. I could hang glide on a Dorito, basically. Look like a golf club. But, you know, I heard him over there, and we had never really talked. You know, I'd just seen him a couple times. And so one day he was like, you know, I was outside, and he was like, "Hey, man, you know, we need to get together." So I was like, "Oh, killer. Yeah, let's do it." So I invited him over, and that night my life changed. I got a best friend for life, and I found out I've never listened to Yellow Wolf before, which if you haven't listened to Yellow Wolf as a hip-hop artist,
I don't know what that is.
it's really good hip-hop.
Is that it's music? So okay.
It's the heat, per se. It's really nice.
Like rap? Or?
It's rap. It's hip-hop.
okay.
Yeah, I grew up old school hip-hop.
Joe's a big rap guy.
Like old school. He just sang Willie Nelson.
Like some Easy E or
Oh, see, yeah, kind of, yeah. So that
NWA?
vibe, not NWA vibe, but he's got like that country vibe. You know, really good.
oh, cool.
Caucasian male, a lot of tattoos, drug habit. So,
Travis is big into rap, by the way.
yeah, I know.
Travis is huge into rap.
He cut his mullet off too, Trader.
Did he really?
I think he got rid of it a long time ago.
Wow.
Pressure, dude.
Ask him
Caved.
about his nickname BG.
BG.
That's his nickname.
All right, I'll talk.
Yeah,
I'll
ask him about that. Yeah.
So now I invited him over, and he brought these grippers, right? So you know Iron Mind. Have you ever heard of Iron Mind? They have sandbags and
Yes.
like okay. So he brought these grippers over. that were like world-class grippers. And he was like, we were drinking, having a good time. And he was like, "Here, grab this level 1 gripper." I was like, all right. And I grabbed it and crushed it, touched it. And he was like, okay. And he was like, here's level 2, and I kind of put it in my hand and I felt it. I crushed it. And he was like, okay, we need to do something with this, right? So I was like, all right, I'm just country. I grew up working my hands. That's the way I grew up. And so then he hands me the 3, COC3. It's Captain's a Crush, right? And COC3, you actually get on a registry if you can close it, right? It's that big of a deal. You have to put a credit card in it and you close it. So I grab it and I put it in my hand and I get it within 1/4 inch, right? And he's just like, I smelled feces. He had pooped his pants.
He pooed.
He had defecated.
Soiled.
He had Joe Biden.
He went Biden on you. Yeah.
It was our first date, and the boy poopied. No, but
He shoo-shooed.
So he was like, dude, come over. We need to train. So the rest is history in that regard. Like with us, I started deadlifting hard. I started packing on weight. I started doing pro hormones and
creatine and whey.
I took my whey creatines, and I did the shots in my ear. Nah, but at that point, I was all in, and he was just like, dude, you're just country strong, and I was like, well, that's good, I guess, but my height was just kind of weird for me. Bench pressing was terrible, but like pulling weight, I could pull weight, and all that, but we really focused on grip strength, which to me is functional strength. Like if you can hold on to something or you can really get a hold of it, he said, straps are your enemy. Never use straps. If you can't pick that weight up, don't pick that weight up. Unless you're building muscle and you're just repping out and you're using it to focus on the muscle. And if you're trying to get strong, focus on your weakest point, fix that, and then progress. And I was like, okay. So we started training grip, farmer's carries, all this stuff, And then we got to where I could close the 3. And then he was like, we started messing with bending nails. And he picked up some 6-inch nails that were pretty good size. And he was like, oh, let's try this, And we got some makeshift leather from Joann Fabrics because you could wrap them up. And I just crushed the nail, in half.
Wow.
And he was like, what in the hell, Well, I don't know, dude. Here he is outweighing me by 120 pounds at that point. And he trains this stuff. And he was like, all right, I'm ordering some Iron Mind actual nails. And I was like, okay. So the red nail is like the pinnacle of grip strength and like it's unheard of, 0.0001.
It's the mecca of nails.
Exactly. So he gets them, and we had been crushing, for a while. And the first one I get, I break it. I get it to where it's, bent. And he's like, oh, it's on, dude. You got it. We got to film this. We got to submit it. So long story short, about a month later and a bunch of freaking sore hands and tendonitis, I just yanked that nail and just folded it in half. And
wow.
Yeah. So we did that, and then we did stuff like the Rolling Thunder, which is a grip implement, and we did grip competitions and stuff like that. And it was fun,
So you got an okay grip.
It's all right. Now, I don't know now, but like my hands are really big. And for me, it was good, I guess. Everybody's like, oh, you can just do it because you got a big hand, and I'm like, but I don't set it out at the fingertips. Right. I set it inside. This is the crushing power right there.
Right.
So, it was just fun. I'd show my friends on the road, I could grab 5 of the 10-pound weights and just pick them up, like the open hand.
You don't do any of that anymore?
I don't, man. I don't.
Go down to Planet Fitness and
just start lunking them.
Yeah.
Just
put
drop
them
weights.
Just set the
Sign
lunk
an autograph.
set the lunk alarm off.
So you know Jim Stepani?
No.
Do you know him at all? You ever heard the name? So he's like this big fitness guy, and he's like sells all these fitness plans and all this stuff. Well, bumper plates, like all the CrossFitters use bumper plates, right?
Yep.
So he puts this challenge out. He's like, if anybody can grip a 45-pound bumper plate, flip it in the air and catch it I'll give you a year's worth of this and this and this and this and this. So I did it, submitted it, got all that stuff. And then I was like, okay, game on. Within a month, I did it 10 times in a row without it hitting the ground. And then Brian Shaw, if you know him, do you know Brian Shaw, the world's strongest man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Shaw.
He was trying to do it, and he couldn't get 10. So it's just kind of one of those things. It was just dumb strength.
So why are you doing podcast?
Because there's no money in holding shit. There's no money in holding stuff, man.
That's awesome.
You know, it was just one of those things. You know, I think we all have been under some iron and had a good time. And, you know, how much does that play into wrestling? Because obviously you want.
Well, I'm still a big weights guy in wrestling. And so a lot of things, like anything, the training in wrestling keeps evolving. And I have pretty good relationships with the tech crew, Tony Roby, top of the line crew up there. And I know they're doing things differently. You know, the old school way when I lifted is, when I look back, we lifted to be kind of like bodybuilders.
Okay.
Not specialized strength. So I'm kind of out. I'm not real knowledgeable what they do now, but I put my son through the old school weights, heavy weights.
Like 5-3-1 type thing, or?
Well, it varies. You know, in season we go circuit, high rep, low rest.
Okay.
You know, I'll be a weight guy till death. You know, it works. It's been working.
Yeah.
Let's not overthink the situation here. Get some resistance, move the weight.
Yeah.
Don't take 10 minutes off. Keep moving it, and you're gonna get stronger. You're gonna get the heart rate up. So, I'm a big weights guy. The only thing I encourage now is, you know, stretch. I never stretched, you know, and now I can barely move.
Oh, dude, I'm the same.
You know, I want my kids, everybody else to. I think flexibility is a pretty big deal. I think it affects everything from your cognition to everything.
Dude, I'm paying for it now.
So
headaches, everything.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
But yeah, no, I'm weights all day long.
Yeah.
So
what percentage of your time spent with the kids are you implementing that, or
well,
do you expect them to? Hey, it's
like I said, I got
here.
kind of a short window, so I'm trying to get them as good at wrestling as I can.
Yeah.
Those things need to be kind of secondary right now. Now, if I saw them every day, we do morning, like Brady, my son, we do morning lifts 3 days a week.
Nice.
5 a.m. lifts.
Were you at the house?
No, but we're going Planet Fitness right now.
Okay.
He'll graduate out of that. He's stronger than me right now. I hand fought with him the other day, and I can't. He's 125 pounds. I can't.
That's awesome.
I can't keep up.
That's
got to
be cool as shit, though, right?
I mean, it's amazing how he felt 6 months ago to where he is now.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like
testosterone, Brad.
He's in puberty,
firing it up,
and I put him through. When I take him to lift, I don't lift. I put him through lifts. And he's everything he does, other than, you know, I got these short arms, so I can still throw up a bench. Yeah. But the curls, the rows, that type of stuff, he's moving big time weight.
Good, man.
And
so what's the perfect formula for wrestling? What do you think the perfect body type, you know what I mean?
There really is none. You see guys like you, tall, big dudes, tall dudes. You see short guys. It really doesn't. I mean, there is no set. Back in the day, back in the guys in my era, they all looked like bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing college guys, they're pretty lean, but you could tell they're super strong.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep up with what they're doing to kind of implement with Brady, future kids to kind of, advise them.
Sure. Because it's a game of endurance, man. Mm-hmm. Right? So
that's what wrestling is. You want to be just as strong in the beginning as you are in, 7
How
years
do you
later.
train that?
Conditioning.
Yeah.
Conditioning.
Sled pulls and
Sled's great, yeah. We need to get one down in the shed. A lot of ropes, a lot of pulls, a lot of curls.
Yep. Grip strength, bro.
Grip strength's huge. You gotta get a hold of you. You can't get away. Yeah. So
live wrestling. It's like
just pounding it.
And live wrestling is
after.
Live wrestling is basically the same as weight training. Resistance, any type of resistance there.
Yeah, fatigue.
Sure. Learning
So you don't want to pack on too much muscle, right? Because
not
muscle
during
equals fatigue.
not during the season. You know,
Depends on what weight you're wrestling.
Yeah,
you
you get those big muscles that still needs oxygen that the blood needs to, you know, the heart needs to pump too. So
Yep. And I noticed when I got big, like I got up to about 265.
and it's hard. It's hard to run. You can't breathe.
It's hard to everything.
So
I wasn't doing it right. I wasn't conditioning. You know, we would walk. He would walk with weighted Rogue vests, and you know, it was a kind of slow grind type cardio that we did. It wasn't like HIIT or whatever it is. I tried that, and it just didn't work for me. My knees were shit, and it proved that my knees failed in the academy. But it was one of those things. Like when I got above 235 is where I like to be, and I'm like 250 right now, 255. But when I get above that weight, it's not a good thing for me.
I remember, what was it, 5 years ago? I mean, I was getting so big. I was benching. I remember I was close gripping 275 for like 13.
Yeah.
I was benching 315 for 11.
Yeah.
And Joe probably could do the same. He's a lot leaner. But I would get tired walking to the drinking fountain and back at the rec center and those long hauls.
I would get up because I stay hydrated, you know, and when you're working out, you're drinking a lot and all that, doing your protein before bed, brother, and all your, you know, vitamins. But I would get up, go to the bathroom, get back in bed and be like
out of shit, breathing heavy.
Yep.
What am I doing?
It's like, this can't be good for the heart. It just can't.
No.
So yeah, but yeah, when that's what happened to me in the academy. Like my knees took, you know, from lifting as heavy. I got stronger. My muscles advanced way faster than all my connective tissues and my ligaments and stuff, dude. I paid the price.
Yeah, I think that's why you see a lot of injuries like NFL. They get so big, so strong, so fast. Their tendons, ligaments, you know, who knows what they're on. It really doesn't matter, but things just snap because their body can't
I
stabilize.
used to travel and lift on a bench press deadlift team, and it got to where it was totally destructive to my joints,
Terrible.
my wrist, my hands fall asleep at night now. It's pretty bad. So
I have tendonitis really bad. The worst for me was my rotators.
yeah.
My rotators got to complete doo-doo garbage.
I've yet to meet a coach or a trainer that says, "Yeah, let's go heavy on bench 3 or 4 days a week."
It's a pointless
no.
exercise.
When are you laying your back doing that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a macho exercise.
Yep.
Yes.
Gets your ego big. That's it.
I was never good at it.
Yeah.
Never. It's not in my body's.
I was really good at it.
Yeah.
I got state records and
No way.
everything on bench press, and it's like done nothing but hurt me.
Yeah.
Period.
That's the thing. It's like it's a cool talking point, but at the end of the day, like when I started packing on weight, like I was dumbbell, I could flex my lats, get my dumbbells, and just crank dumbbells. But you put my shoulders in, and I'd try to get my elbow, you know, my back together and get a strong platform, and it just sucked, dude. I just destroyed myself.
But you could bend some serious nails.
I could crank some nails in half.
You would have been a great wrestler.
Yeah.
With that
your
grip
leverage,
strength, that leverage,
Yeah,
blast double.
cable strength.
You know, that's when I screwed my knee up. We were doing in the academy. Did you guys do the kind of multi-station day for DT?
Oh yeah.
A bunch of times, right?
Oh yeah.
So we were doing that, and first was boxing, right? And it was funny. One of our coaches, Jeb, if you're listening, I love you, buddy. You know Jeb,
Right?
Yeah.
He was telling me about your nail bending.
Okay.
I love Jeb.
Ask him about that overhead.
His boy comes to the shed.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about Jeb.
Jeb, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jeb, the first station was boxing, right? And I got him with an overhand right.
He
And
told me
okay.
last night or 2 nights ago. He's like, "Yeah, I'll box you." And he hit me. He said he hit me with an overhand right, and I thought I was gonna lose it. That's awesome.
He goes, "All right, hold on." Yeah, I gave him one of those Chuck Liddells. You know, it was no rhyme or reason.
The old
Just-
Iceman.
I said, bam, you know. He was like, step back. He was like, okay, all right, next station. So I went through that. I went through the next one was a couple jiu-jitsu things, and it was really wrestling. We started, kind of on the ground, and I just held position. I was holding position, doing what I had to do, controlling a guy much bigger than me in size. I felt good. I was kind of had him under the arm, and then I went around to the guy that was probably about buck 80. About 80?
About 175.
Okay.
Yep, something like that.
So I was like, okay, I moved to him, and then I went for a pass. I went around to try to get around to his back. I was going to submit him, or I was going to try. And I ran around to his back, and my foot got caught in my shorts. So when I was sweeping my leg, I went to kind of push my leg around to get around to his back. My foot got caught in my shorts, and that gave him a moment to come up. And right as he did, my leg was in my shorts, and it just popped and tore my IT band. Like it put my knee in just this stupid position. So from then, I knew I was like, dang, my knees have never been good, So I was pretty much push up and pull up master for the rest of the academy, all the way to DTs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it was nasty. It was not a good time after that. But Jeb's a good dude, man.
Oh yeah,
Jeb's a great guy.
How old's his kid now?
Levi he's
13?
He's 13. I think he's in 7th grade. 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
But they come up.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of pictures.
He brings some of the Glenver kids.
I was going to say I think he's resource officer in Glenver, isn't he?
Yep.
For Glenver.
And
Yep.
He's the middle school coach. Yeah, he's
I love James. James gets loose over there watching podcasts and doing his thing, man. He's living his life. He's a good dude.
Just taking a toot.
Oh, he'll do it, man.
Do it.
He does it.
Send it.
Does whatever he wants. James has. Here's the cool thing about James, right? Other than being James, he has the sickest. He rides electric bikes. He has electric bikes, dude.
Nice.
That are out of this world, like fat tires and like 50-mile-an-hour stuff, and that's how he gets around.
Clean.
It is so clean.
yeah,
He's
that is
energy
clean.
efficient.
That's very clean.
Is it for the environment? Is it for the what? Yep.
He shook his head yes.
He is a man of few words.
Basic stuff.
It's for what? Asics? You're wearing Asics? Perfect.
Yeah.
Shoes.
Yeah.
Give me 5. Let me give me a shout out to the club we got going on.
Let's do it. Yep.
Touch base what we're doing down there.
Please.
I know it's kind of low energy to the heat Joe brings.
Listen,
that's hard to follow. That's
I
hard to
don't bring
follow
nothing.
up.
I
buddy.
didn't know Joe, but I knew
That is
Joe.
amazing. You guys didn't know each other. We've talked about that.
I know you so well on social media.
And I knew like when I saw you, I was like, all right, patriot, father figure, deputy, police officer.
Previous mustache. We haven't talked on mustaches yet.
We're gonna make love.
It's time for me to go. All right.
Oh, man.
No, Matt. All right. Yes,
All right,
watch.
so-
So shout out Machine Shed.
Machine Shed. Yeah. So, relatively new club, new establishment here in Christiansburg. I guess we kicked off in September, late December. Kind of had a vision of, how we, it's not my club. If it wasn't for Joe, it wouldn't exist.
Why is that?
Why?
Yeah.
The amount of time, money, energy he's helped put everything in place.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm the coach. I'm the kind of the semi-facilitator.
You're the man, dude.
But it takes a village.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do this by myself. Anyway, we've had long conversations about continuing, just getting a place. We've looked at places and nothing seemed right. Too small. Landlord seemed creepy. Whatever the reason was, and I stumbled on this place, and I met the guy, and I was like, "Gosh, this place is perfect." I wasn't gonna do it until if it wasn't a perfect facility, perfect situation.
Yeah.
And I found this place. I was like, man, Joe, you got to come check this out. It's just, guy's perfect. Everything's just perfect. Like it fell in place. So he came down and he walked in the door just like I did. He's like, dude, this is perfect. It is literally made for a wrestling room.
How big is it?
I think it's like a little over 3,000 square foot.
And that's all open.
Open
Yeah,
space.
yeah. It looked big in all the pictures.
And it used to be a tire shop. So we got this iron bar from wall to wall that looks like a pull-up bar.
Okay.
And that's what I thought it was. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, you guys setting up before I even get here.
Thanks,
It's
bro.
like, okay.
Appreciate
But
you.
yeah, and I had access to some mats, and I knew some people. I had some pretty good support. I was like, and the rent was crazy good deal. I was like, let's do it. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, man.
Didn't have a name for the place, for what we're going to name the club. We spitballed ideas, and I stayed up to 2, 3 in the morning for several nights thinking like, what about this idea? What about this? And I'm just thinking in bed one night, and it's like Machine Shed came to me. And in Iowa, we call what people out here call barns machine sheds. It's where you store farming equipment,
Okay.
your tractors, your combines, your planters, your farming
And in
equipment.
Virginia, you store your hammers.
Right.
That's right.
And I was like, oh man, machine shed, that's really, really cool. And I pulled up Google, which I don't go much anymore. And I Googled machine, what's it? And I can't get service down here. Joe, can you?
What do you have, T-Mobile? You got that pay
Oh, here
per-
we go.
Pay per
Yeah.
minute?
Yeah.
Send it,
So, so I Googled machine just to see what Google tells me. And it says an apparatus using or applying mechanical power and having several parts, each with a definite function and together performing a particular task.
Okay. Yeah, right.
It's like, dang, that's spot on.
That's fitting.
So we're a machine shed.
Nice.
And the facility is somewhat of a machine shed. Somewhat.
Right?
I was like, dang, this is perfect. And we started rolling. We put together a little Facebook page and talked to several contacts that we have throughout the years in wrestling, and they're all in. And here we are. We're gaining traction every week. New kids coming in here, there, and that anyone with the same attitude, perspective, vision as we have, they're welcome. I don't care if they're a rival school from where we're at, Christiansburg Blacks. I mean, if they could send their kid down for an hour or two and it makes our core kids better, they're welcome.
Nice.
I mean,
So what level do you go, don't know what the hell they're doing, all the way up to,
well,
or do you expect?
no, I mean, we
Something.
don't have any beginners.
Okay.
I have a couple kids that are first-year wrestlers, but they're really good for first-year wrestlers.
Just
And
tough.
just tough kids. And I can teach the technique, the skill. If they're willing to come in and scrap and fight and be tough and be dedicated and keep showing up, they're welcome anytime. And that's what we're getting. That's the type of kids we're getting. And families. It's the parents, the commitment and dedication there.
And just having the resources like Virginia Tech.
And I'm exploiting those guys as much as I can.
Hey,
Number
dude.
5 in the nation.
Yeah.
I'm getting
You
them,
know.
I'm getting their guys. I'm throwing them some money. I never got in this deal to make money. I just want this area. I want some excitement back in this area. Kids get better at wrestling. Take advantage of what resources we got around us.
Yeah.
And just roll.
Well, I will tell you, like, just seeing that, like, makes me want to get my little man in it,
Get him in it, buddy.
bring him down.
Because he's 5.
You'll never hear anyone say, "Man, I wish I didn't wrestle." But you will hear people say, "I wish I would have wrestled."
Yeah.
I wrestled just a little bit.
Yeah.
Got my ribs broke a few years ago, Matt.
Yeah, and that Nashville, mind you.
Okay.
In Nashville.
We were in Nashville, and you were probably there.
I
No
promise.
joke.
I promised my
didn't do
boys. I promised my boys. I said, boys, if I wrestle in this old man's division, which it wasn't an old man's division,
Yeah.
you can coach me.
Yeah.
And
He broke his rib, and he kept wrestling.
Well, damn right you did.
and he scored takedowns.
Nice, dude.
and then my
pit bull.
boys, both my boys won gold and brought it to the ER and handed me their gold medals.
Where'd you
It
go?
was great.
Vanderbilt? Did you go to
I
Vandy?
don't. I probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
It was a cool event. It was
great.
It was
That's killer,
it was 3 wrestling mats on a football field.
Mikhail Lewis was
And
there.
Mikhail Lewis was
Okay.
down there.
Yeah,
No,
it was-
Latona was down. San
Latona was down
too.
there. It was just phenomenal.
That's killer.
Grapple on the Gridiron, it was called. Great time.
Dude, I would die. I'm so out of shape.
Yeah,
Like, I'm trying.
wrestling
Same
shape. Wrestling shape's a whole nother level.
Yeah. Yeah, like these steps right here, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hard time getting in the truck.
So Chico said, ask Matt about the lounge.
The lounge. So yeah, the lounge, which is where Fatback Soul Shack used to be. Used to be Waffle House.
Okay. Yes.
You probably you don't remember Big Travis? You probably know him from the weight club, Travis Guil.
I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
He used to slam weight, just
Okay.
repping 450, crazy.
Big
Probably-
beard.
big beard.
Yeah.
So small guy.
Oh yeah, he's shorter than me.
Arms like
believe it or
14
not.
inches long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long. Yeah.
And we would gather down there at the Waffle House. Travis would call it the lounge. That's the only time he would eat sodium was the Waffle House. He couldn't go to crazy theories he had, but that's
cleaner.
the lounge. Cleaner, yeah. The lounge, yeah. Chico, he's putting up some
He's
big
swinging.
weight.
He's almost to
With an
500 again.
artificial hip.
He's always been amazing at deadlifting. Even
the
when I was in the academy, I had to fight him in
The red man.
DT.
Yeah, he said he's a real deal. Yeah, he said when we were talking about it, he said, I was in the suit and Joseph had to do the red man, and I'd take him in any battle I needed to go to.
You guys gotta get him in like wrestling.
Yeah,
wrestling
that's what I
works.
use.
That worked. Yeah,
Wrestling
works.
overhand right, done.
Yeah, right. Rear naked.
Chico was my my red man guy. My scenario was a warrant service.
Okay.
Walked in, said, I got a warrant for your arrest. And as soon as he said something, I headbutted him and punched him in the face.
Nice.
And it was on, man. It was great.
So what about the guy that talked crap about Marines? Didn't he have a mask on or something? And
Hang on. Fill me in, Travis. Come on, Rob.
I don't know what you're. So apparently there was something that happened not here, but maybe you were doing some training somewhere else, and you had to go against somebody, and the mask may or may not have caved in on the man's face.
Yes. That is correct.
You came
Now
back to me
it
now.
Now
came
it's
back to
ringing
me
a
now.
bell. They caved in on a man's face.
It
Ring a
actually, caved in the mask and cut the guy's face. And
Why did you do that?
I was just.
He said something about Marines.
He
is what it
did,
was.
yes.
Okay.
You don't talk about the few, the proud, man.
I know.
And listen, I've done both. Army, Marines.
Yeah.
I'm proud to be a part of both of them.
I'm proud of you.
I appreciate it, Rob.
100%, my friend.
Yeah,
I really
man.
am, dude. I just can't believe, Why don't we have cold cocktails together? Why aren't we at it? Why aren't we at it out
This
back?
this place down here is the ultimate. The racetrack.
The racetrack is awesome.
The racetrack back here.
Man, we have a good time. I'm a kid at heart.
James over there.
Same here.
Listen, I feel the moment you grow up fully, you're done,
You're wasted.
right? It's like Biden falling off the bike.
I don't grow
You're
up.
done.
Or up the stairs.
Or up the stairs, yeah. You don't. You shouldn't,
No.
right? Like, we're older parents.
I fly remote control airplanes and feel like I'm a kid.
I've got a bag full of drones. I've got $10,000 in drones over
I
there.
love them, man.
It's so much fun.
I bought my boys remote control airplanes for Christmas,
I saw you flying that one.
and they're mine.
Sorry,
they're not
guys.
theirs, they're mine.
Sorry, guys. $5
Yeah.
per touch.
Hold
right?
up.
And you know what? That's what happened with all this. Everything that you see around, right? So my brother-in-law, for Jackson, my son's second birthday, bought him a Hot Wheels set where the two cars race. And
Yeah.
they launched. You pushed a button. They launched. They went around a loop, and then a flag dropped for whoever won. It's like, I really like this. It's like, because I used to drag race. That was like kind of what I did. I built turbo cars, and I, had a speed shop, and that's what was fun to me before I moved to Nashville. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, dang, I bet you a quarter this car will beat that car. And next thing you know, I've got 10 homies down in the basement on race night, and we're betting $1 a race, just having fun, having some cold beers, and betting on these stupid Hot Wheels, right? And then, And then that happened.
That thing is next level.
It's the Grindelwald circuit.
You got to get.
How long did it take you to build all that?
4 months of.
I had no idea this was going on.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Thank
My
you.
boys would love this.
Bring them over, man.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Do it.
That's
Hey,
going to happen.
Can we bring the machine shed crew over here one night
100%.
for grins?
So what you got to do, you got to have them go to Kroger or wherever, buy Hot Wheels they think are fast,
Okay.
right? It's $1 a pop. Spend $10, right? Bring them over here, and we'll have a battle and crown. Everybody put in $1, right, on the race, and we'll crown a champ.
We got to do that one
You down
night.
with that?
It is down before Vawas.
We have to have a fun night like that.
Yeah, do it,
That would
man.
be awesome.
So you can buy these. I mean, I'm completely out of the loop here. You can buy these at Kroger.
Just
you said?
buy Hot Wheels. Yeah, just
Yeah,
Hot
you can
Wheels.
go to Advanced Auto. You can go
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
Buy a Hot Wheel or have them bring one for their house.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, we got all kinds of these.
So we'll just make it to where it's all stock pack pulls is what we call them. You pull them from the pack to the track.
So they got to be from the pack.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
it doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
They just can't be a loose car.
You can do whatever. You know, I mean,
Matt, we need to do that. The boys would love that. All the kids would love that.
so for you guys listening, I'll put some pictures up on Instagram and Facebook. I've got a track that's 81 and a half feet total. It's basically a scale mile for 64th scale racing. And if you want to check it out, it's Commotion Diecast on YouTube, and we race. We have an absolute blast, and these guys are going to come down.
I didn't know you had this underground industry going,
This-
Rob.
I'm living.
Track
I'm living.
is
You know what I mean?
unbelievable.
I'm not here to not.
What are the chances we
live.
can get Phil for the race?
You think we
I'll
could talk?
call him. I can't guarantee a T-shirt.
No, I'll be praying for him. And look, if we can get Phil here,
Gas money.
Can we get a
I'll
cameo?
give him gas money, and we'll get him here. And look, we'll just talk about it. We'll get him on the couch, and
Don't bring up the squash, right?
I made a mistake.
When's the last time you guys talked about the squash?
It's been a while, man. I made a mistake.
the squash.
His squashes.
Yeah, poor Phil. Praying for you,
He
Phil.
left.
Phil, if you're listening, I'm praying for you, buddy.
Does
He doesn't have
does
internet.
Phil? He doesn't not dial up or
How
anything.
do you know that though? What if he's moved in with a family?
You're kind of underestimating Phil.
I listen, guys. Please. I know Phil, and where he's at is dark. I over fertilized the squash seeds he left in my care last year.
Dang.
Oh man,
We're not on speaking terms.
Can we keep that for the next episode here in Commotion?
Does he have a phone or any way of communication where I could reach out to him and just tell him that
He has a
C-
pager.
He's CBO.
Okay,
He's
okay,
CB only.
Yeah. Well, he has a ham radio.
I got ham radios.
657 QQQ. Phil. I love myself. Phil.Q.
Okay, I'll reach out.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah. Just rewind it if you didn't get it. But I guess my problem with you guys reaching out to him is it's going to open a wound.
We don't.
We haven't talked. He was expecting a bountiful harvest, and I didn't give it to him. And he came up here. It took him 7.5 hours from Dougspur on his 2.5 horsepower Craftsman.
Rob, you can't blame yourself for that.
I'm taking it hard.
What route did he take on that Craftsman? Did you go
The
route
path
it?
of least resistance, I guess, Matt.
Let me ask you something. Food Line at Blacksburg, there's a guy that sits there with a sign that says, "Give me money," and he's on a Craftsman. Do you think that could be Phil?
No, he's got too much.
Blacksburg?
He's got too much pride. He ain't going to Blacksburg.
He
I
ain't
don't
about
know, man.
Blacksburg, dude. He hates Blacksburg.
That ain't his cup of tea.
If it were Snowville, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if he was down there at the old fire department.
It's not him then. It's
Yeah.
definitely not him.
The problem that I'm having is that when he was on social media, he was blasting me, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
remember
not
that. I didn't care for that.
He was
when
like,
did that.
Scarshes, LOL,
Z. He put a Z on one of them.
LOLs.
He did.
How am I supposed to take that?
Right.
Not. Yeah, I would. Yeah, not good.
I'm like, I tried to page him. You know, I hit him up 911 at the end, You know, when you had a pager, that was an emergency.
Right.
Nothing, dude.
What do you think if we sent him a dead whistle pig? Would he be happy?
If he could eat it, you know, there's a certain expiration on a
Well,
pig.
we could get it there quick.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Matt? We blasted a whistle pig and froze it.
He, I don't know, dude.
No, he
Might
wants
think
the
it's-
bloodshed for himself. The last time I talked
maybe.
to him,
He is bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those.
he was
things.
like the Predator. You know, Predator hunted for the skulls. He just wanted
Trophies.
He just wanted the bloodshed.
So you know the teeth on a gopher, right?
Oh,
or on
yeah.
a whistle pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and
yeah.
Sam Moore used to kill a lot of whistle pigs.
He has 13,000 teeth.
That's a lot of kills.
That's a lot of confirmed.
kills.
That's
And
confirmed.
He still
that's
hasn't
confirmed.
got a squash. Like,
Joseph.
I'm sorry.
He has yet to plant a
Damn
new
it.
seed because
He's
of.
got that many teeth, but he's
He gave me all of his squash seeds. I did a raised garden last year, screwed them all up.
yeah.
He hasn't talked to me since, man.
Yeah.
He's got no intention to either.
He
Trust-
doesn't.
Trust me.
Well,
He's on his own.
Trust
we've got
me.
some rebuilding to do.
We do. I feel like
Can we do that in the next podcast?
that's tough, man. I'd rather talk about this watch. But
Listen, when we get off the air,
yeah,
I'm gonna show you how that watch works.
okay. Would you guys pray for Phil? Who's
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's a lost soul.
okay?
Man, I'll let you go ahead, brother.
all right.
No, I'm not.
I'm
I'm not gonna. Not out of. Not out of.
listen,
Not out
we're-
of mockery. I'm not doing that.
We're in
No.
our own world. If-
I'm not. I'm not going to the Lord upstairs and mockery.
Mocking.
Oh, yeah.
Phil, listen, y'all.
Listen,
Phil-
Phil, if you're listening,
He's not.
how do you know he's not?
He has a
though?
pager. That's it.
He's probably got some banana ears.
But you don't know
well.
what family he's moved into with. That's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Like,
I don't-
people are
I
kind.
don't. I don't think he's at Doug Spur anymore. I really don't.
Dude, I don't know.
I think he's in Blacksburg.
I think he's in Ariat.
I think he's in
way.
Blacksburg, sitting at Food Line.
Do you seriously?
I've been seeing him every time I go pick up my son for school. I swear it's Phil.
How's he doing?
I think he has a girlfriend.
Oh, dude, now you're just blasphemous.
No, I'm being serious. She's probably in her 70s.
No, that's
Okay.
That's
I'm
okay.
intrigued.
Now we're getting.
I'm
yeah.
intrigued.
He may be onto something here.
Yeah.
Close, pushing 300 maybe.
She is.
Yeah.
Phil. Oh, my.
And Phil is.
He'll probably let himself
He likes
in
the
too.
gravy, dude. He
I
likes the
don't
gravy.
know if it's
Squirrel
him.
gravy with brains.
I tell you what, I pick up Dillinger tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull in there because he's there every day with this Craftsman and a trailer.
Look at the HP on it. If it's not 2.5, that's the most he can handle, dude. He is
Okay.
a wild cat.
Okay, I'll check it out. I'll let you know, Rob. I'll give you a shout.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Hashtag this is for Phil. Can we do that on this episode?
Hashtag Phil.
Hashtag this is for Phil.
Hashtag this is for Phil.
No more hashtag Scorshes LOLZ.
Damn
At
it. That was
symbol.
painful.
That was cold.
At
Blooded.
symbol Phil.
I know.
Yeah.
I knew who that was pointed
It was
at.
at me, dude.
Oh, we all knew that.
I think my biggest takeaway from this, I've learned a lot about myself, losing a friend. I think I need to value his presence more. He was a gardener. He was a friend.
Harvester.
He was a harvester, an international harvester.
He was a provider.
He did, he did what he could, I mean, he boiled the heads of all of those whistle pigs in my kitchen.
Interesting. And disturbing.
Rob, take it easy,
Wait,
buddy.
hold on. This kitchen here that we're at?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for listening. Hashtag this is for Phil. We love you guys.
No more LOLZs.
Until the next episode. I'm Rob.
Joe Collins, thank you for having me.
Matt.
All right, y'all. God bless.
Peace.